After wajjahtu wajhiya, we say lillazi fatara, towards him who created. About fatara, it is narrated that Hazrat Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu says that he did not know the meaning of fatir samawat until two Arabs of the desert came to him disputing respecting the mastery of a well. And one of them said, Ana fatartuha, meaning that I originated or began it. The distinction between khalaqa and fatara, when we compare the two, is that khalaqa, creation, creating, has more of an emphasis on creating from something. This is only when the two are compared. And fatara has more of an emphasis of creating from nothing. So khalaqa can also have a meaning of creating from nothing, but fatara has more of an emphasis on this point. Now, when we think about Allah Almighty being Allazi fatara samawati wal arda, the one who created the heavens and the earth from nothing, then it is disorienting because our mind is not capable of comprehending the concept of creation from nothing. We may accept it logically because we have to. Logically, we have to accept the concept that there has to be a cause of all causes. We can't say that everything we observe has a creator, everything has a cause, and then this finite process of something causing something else can just go on infinitely into the past. If something has a start and has a beginning and an end, then we can't just say that infinitely they just kept on creating each other. So in concept, we have to accept that somewhere down the line there has to have been a creation from nothing. Allah Almighty had to create from nothing. Fatiri samawati wal arth. But despite the fact that we accept it logically, but it is something that disorients us, it's confusing. It's not something that our mind can wrap its head around. And this is one of the beauties of these words. That as long as we try and understand this concept with our mind, then it's one of those philosophical points that are inherently outside the comprehension of a finite being. We can't break out of these limitations of being a finite being. But this is the beauty of it, because it can only be observed, and we can only recite these words of Allazi fatara with an appreciation for them and with an enjoyment of them, when we recite them in awe of how incomprehensible Allah Almighty is, when we realize how small and limited our perception of the universe is, and our perception of time is. And then when we say that I turn my attention to Allazi fatara, the one who created from nothing, then there is an awe and a beauty in that. It affects our heart. And the purpose of prayer is to affect our heart. Salat, the 5 daily prayers, are an exercise of the heart. So Allazi fatara immediately moves us towards our heart and an appreciation of this attribute of Allah Almighty. Then another beauty of Allazi fatara is how it reminds us of the power of God Almighty that is beyond our imagination and how it relates to our relationship with God. The promised Messiah ﷺ said that your God is one who has suspended numberless stars without any support and who has created heaven and earth from nothing. Then would you think so ill of him as to imagine that your objective is beyond his power? So a lot of times this thought comes to our mind, that does God really have the power to achieve this objective that I want, to accept this prayer, to forgive me, or whatever it is? So here the promised Messiah ﷺ has reminded us that he is the one who created from nothing. So what difficulty is it for him? Of course it's within his power to do anything. So when we begin with reflecting on Allazi fatara, that he is the one who created from nothing, and that these words move our heart with the awe of how incomprehensible God Almighty is, then the prayers that we offer after having been moved in this way would come from a different place, would come from a different motivation and a different level of hope. So these words of the promised Messiah ﷺ on creation from nothing and their relation to prayer is also very relevant when it comes to the observance of the 5 daily prayers.